data bank, right? And he was essentially saying that this is conflict of interest, because how can you be the finance minister and then your bank is the same bank that speaks or acts as a consultant when there's a deal between Ghana and other countries or borrowing. So what he was trying to say is, if that's the case, as Ghana keeps borrowing and the debt keeps rising, somebody on the other hand from the data bank, which appears to be the finance minister, is making money. Of course, you get paid for your consultancy role. And to be honest with you, right, I actually had to call one radio station. The presenter on there is a good friend of mine. I had to call the radio station because the comments from people were actually vile, particularly from NPP supporters on that particular radio station. And I mean, we live in Europe and we should know better. We ought to know better. You tend to get this a lot on a lot of the media platforms in Ghana, right? And not just in Ghana, here as well. You watch on social media and people are just vile. And they were all, you know, ridiculous statements being made about KKD, personal attacks, personal insults, which were unwarranted because due to the fact that the guy criticized the government and the finance minister. So people felt the need to come and attack him personally, which was just wrong on all levels. Totally, absolutely wrong. So I will play the video, and I'd like to hear your take on it. All right. But as I did mention, we'll begin the show. Let me just play, a snippet, okay, of the interview. Asamoah Gyan and Denta interviewing Asamoah Gyan. And Asamoah Gyan essentially talking about the fact that, Ghanaians more or less do not honor him or respect his accomplishments, which in a way I kind of agree. But I'll come back with my take on this, and then we'll try and get Papa Ajiman on the line as well. So let's take a quick listen.
Right? Do you think he's been celebrated enough?
For me, I don't think he's been celebrated enough because he's the only African boxer who has taken boxing to the whole world. Like, he's the greatest African boxer of all time. It's undisputed. Ghana has gotten a lot of world champions, talking about Appoint, Joseph Agbeko, Joshua Clotte, Emmanuel Tego. We've got a lot of world champions, but he stands out. He's a Hall of Famer. And then when we were growing up, like many years ago, his name was given to this Kaneshi Sports Complex, which I feel is very, very disrespectful to Azuma Nelson. We have the Bukom Arena, very nice arena. Yeah. Azuma is undisputed. His name should be given to that, to be named after the Bukom Arena, not Kaneshi Sports Complex. For me, I felt like it's very, very disrespectful to him, and Ghanaians need to sit down and then correct that mistake, because Azuma is a huge icon from Ghana. He's somebody we shouldn't joke about, because he was the one in the old days who took Ghana to the map. When Azuma is fighting,
4 a.m., 3 a.m., everybody's up.
This generation, Philippines have Pacquiao.
Yeah.
And he's the only one they have, Pacquiao. And that time, Azuma was the only one we had at that time. So he needs to be celebrated.
We also talked about when somebody dies, that's when we do a statue for the person. Do you think that these things needs to be done whilst the person is alive so they can see them being celebrated?
Exactly. That is what everybody wants. Sometimes, even for example, look at Arsenal. Thierry Henry's statue is there. The day he saw it, he was crying like a baby. At least he knows he has done something. His heart is at peace. whenever he dies, he knows he's seen everything. We've got a lot of old stars who are putting Ghana on the map that have that anger in them.
Wow.
Because they feel like they've never been treated right, and all these things, naturally it affects us, but we don't know. Sometimes we go to tournaments, we don't perform. All these things, I believe in spirituality. There are a lot of things people say and it works. Let the people be at peace.
When we talk about football, right, you are a legend. Okay, when we talk about Ghana, you can't really mention Ghana without mentioning Asamoah Gyan. And that's not just me saying it because I know you, but the fact that if you are in the UK or you're traveling to the US and you mention Ghana, somebody say, "Oh, I know Asamoah Gyan." Do you think that we have done enough for even you, Asamoah? I know you're very humble about it, but do you think as a nation, I know that they've now, put you as the tourism ambassador for Ghana, but have we done enough to celebrate Asamoah Gyan, who you are our top scorer? And not just top scorer for Ghana, but when we come to the world, even Ronaldo, like you have scored more goals than a lot of even the Western world when we talk about the big players. Have we done enough for Asamoah Gyan?
Nope. I don't think so. There are a lot of people who come on social media, disrespect me. They say a lot of things, but they know the truth. They say a lot of things. And one thing about Ghanaians is they know the right thing. Instead of them to put you out there, they will not do it. But when foreigners praise this, that is where they bring their star. For example,
to compare.
For example, I was on social media. I saw when Cristiano Ronaldo scored 9 consecutive tournaments. He scored like he didn't break my record. He equaled my record,
Right.
because I was the only player who had scored in 9 consecutive tournaments. And then when Ronaldo scored, they put him there that he was the one who has set that record. And then Ghanaians started attacking the person.
So they know the truth.
They know the truth. Why didn't they say it before for people to know?
Yeah.
And then when people start praising their icons, that is where they come out and say, we also have Asamoah Gyan. But in my own country, you see people disrespecting me, creating a lot of stories about me, which I feel like it's not it. So when I see people defending me on social media, I just sit down and say, look at these hypocrites. And for me, I didn't think I would be here where I am today. I knew I'll be a professional footballer, but I didn't know I was gonna be an icon like that. And I'm very grateful, and I think it's a bonus for me. I knew I would get there. I knew I would be a professional footballer. I knew I'll play for the national team. I even prophesied, but I didn't know I would be that big, which is a bonus.
Did you ever think that you'll become a captain?
No.
Okay, so that was the Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan there, talking about Ghanaians essentially don't appreciate him. I want to hear your take off the back of that interview. You can call in 0203 735 8820 or 0778 793 9958. Alternatively, you can also send a text message. If you're watching us live on Facebook or YouTube, you can do the same things. Leave your messages on there and I will read them out. Has Asamoah Gyan got a point in what he's saying? Do Ghanaians cherish him, or have Ghanaians overlooked his achievement? Are Ghanaians, in his words, hypocrites because they fail to acknowledge his achievement, but then when somebody else's achievement is being projected, then Ghanaians are quick to say, hey, hang on, we have Asamoah Gyan here. But of their own back, they will not, go out to support Asamoah Gyan. Do you think he has been treated fairly? Let me hear your take. 0203 735 8820. Or you think Asamoah Gyan, you don't agree with his comments? You can also call 0778 793 9958 or you think he has got a point, you can also text the same line. Soon we'll be speaking to former under 20 Ghana player and now a football agent before we move on to other matters. We're trying to get Papa online. We will bring you the newspaper headlines here in England, but for now, let's see if we can speak to Papa Ajiman. Papa Ajiman is a former um, under 20 Ghana player and now football agent. Papa, good morning if you can hear me. Welcome. For some reason, I cannot. Papa, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I can hear you now. First and foremost, let me ask you this. Asamoah Gyan did an interview with Denta, which, for me, this is one of the best interviews or the type of interviews I like because you're able to draw out a lot of emotion out of the person you're interviewing. Now, Asamoah Gyan, according to me, doesn't think he gets the recognition he deserves from Ghanaians. Has he got a point, Papa?
Yeah, I think he can have a point. I think Ghanaians are quick to kind of, forget people that have done certain things for them in the future, in the past, and I think Asamoah Gyan's got every right to kind of feel like that because there's been instances where I think he deserved a bit more respect for what he's done for the country,
And why do you think that is, Papa?
I think maybe it's something to do with the culture and the society and how we are as Ghanaians, Mm-hmm. I think that people always remember the bad times as in life, and they don't remember the good times. Like he's one of the record goal scorers, and mm-hmm. he's done this, he's done that, and he served the country for such a long time. Mm-hmm. But I think he gets to a stage where he's probably not spoken about it for a while. But that interview, things boiled over, and he was quite expressive of how he felt, and going forward, maybe Ghanaians might think because it's become a topic for discussion now, know.
And I mean, he did made mention just before Dentas, asked him about his own personal experience. He even spoke of Azuma Nelson, and he also spoke of some of the former Black Stars players. And there seems to be this thing about sports personalities in Ghana where it's, I don't know, maybe you can help me out here. The moment that your career comes to an end, you're forgotten of, and then that's it. Whereas if you compare to, the Western world, they really keep their idols and, sportsmen and sportswomen on the pedestal. But us is so different. And I mean, I'm actually amazed that he brought up Azuma Nelson because if people that love boxing, they really, really respect Azuma Nelson in this country. They really, really respect it. But for some reason, his country is, the opposite when it comes to us. But back to Asamoah Gyan, Papa. Do you think Ghanaians is down to 2010 that Ghanaians are unable to forgive Asamoah Gyan?
I think obviously, I think with the way the world is at the moment, I think that Ghanaians are probably a bit bitter as well, with regards to maybe sometimes they might read in the news a kind of maybe lifestyle that he lives in, and things being hard on the ground, and people might think, oh, you're living a good life, so you don't really deserve the sympathy from us and stuff like that. I mean, in some instances, I don't think he's helped himself. By being maybe a little bit more exuberant. But I mean, you know what, he's human. And he's someone that's really worked and reached the pinnacle of a sport, and you expect him to be able to live the life that he wants to kind of live. I think that there are no structures in place with regards to celebrating people that have done extraordinary in their chosen fields. And I think Asamoah Gyan is probably one of them, and maybe Ghanaians need to kind of look at that a little bit more. And give more respect to people like that,
Yeah. I mean, I think in the interview as well, he did make mention of the fact that a lot of people write negative stories about him. And that made me pause for a minute because again, you can see that he was emotional about it. It does get to him, and made me question my attitude towards Asamoah Gyan. And I think I've been fair where I have criticized him and also praised him. I think I've been fair in my judgment of Asamoah Gyan. Last week, the news, he spoke to the BBC where he was saying that he's training, to get himself in shape and hopefully make a comeback for the Black Stars. He hasn't retired. He didn't say to anybody that he's retired, which then led me to write write a letter. Oh, I didn't physically write a letter. I was just here and I just thought about it. And I made my position clear that, I literally praised him for all his achievements, but I just felt like, the time has come for him to maybe close that chapter and maybe, pass on his experiences to the next generation. What do you think? Where do you stand on this, as Papa?
Well, I think he's well within his right to kind of express that he didn't actually make an announcement that he's retired. So whether the handlers of the national team decide to call him is another question, And Ghanaians are very quick to kind of retire people without them saying they're retired. I'm not sure that he himself believes that he's probably in the best physical conditions to merit a call up, and he has been inactive for about 2 years. And it doesn't just take 2 months to get yourself in tip-top shape for a competition like the FIFA World Cup. So, I mean, like I said, Asamoah Gyan, he can say whatever he wants, and obviously, as media people, you can critique and give your opinion on it. I don't think that means you're doing something bad, but I think it just some of the stories that have come up on him and how it's been handled in the media space is quite worrying for future athletes with regards to when there are issues or situations that comes up, and Asamoah Gyan is well within the rights to kind of bring that up in an interview and express how he feels.
Okay, but let me put this to you, Papa. Take off your footballing cap. Now you're the manager of the Black Stars. World Cup is just around the corner. Asamoah Gyan comes out and says that he's trying to get in shape so he can make a comeback for the Black Stars. You're the manager, Papa. Would you like to see Asamoah Gyan? Would you select him? Would you call him?
I mean, in my personal opinion, I'm not a manager, but if you're putting in the manager's hat on, there will probably be a criteria that he would have to satisfy before he merits a call up, and if he satisfies that criteria, obviously he can be considered. But then, like I said, with the World Cup being such a physically demanding competition, and for him to be out of competition without competitive football for a number of months, it will be difficult for him to get into that elite fitness level, elite conditioning level to be able to compete. So it will be for myself. It will be difficult for me to kind of consider him. But then like I said, he's well within his right to kind of stake his claim for a place in the World Cup.
All right, Papa, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So that was Papa Ajiman. Papa is a former Ghana under-20 player and now a football agent who just spoken to. Let me hear your take on this. You think Ghanaians have done enough for Asamoah Gyan, or do you think that, should I say, does he get, the due recognition from Ghanaians? If you think otherwise, let me know. 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. Alternatively, you can call the mobile line on 0778-793-9958. Now, still with sports. I don't know why we're talking about sports today. I don't know. Maybe my background is sports. And Anthony Joshua and usage. Unfortunately, Joshua lost to Ukraine's usage. Yes, was it yesterday? No, over the weekend, wasn't it? Yeah, over the weekend. gosh, I was gutted. Okay, I was gutted because I am an AJ fan. I like Anthony Joshua. I think he presents himself well. But funny enough, before the fight, I was speaking to my brother, my older brother. I'm from a house of boxing. None of us ever boxed, but we love boxing. I remember the times that my dad was around. We'd stay up all night to watch boxing. Whoever was fighting, we'd stay up to watch it. So I was speaking to my brother, and I said to my brother that, what, I don't think Joshua is going to win again because Joshua has only one way of fighting, and during the fight, should anything change, anything happen that goes contrary to his plan, he becomes unstuck. He doesn't know which direction to go, how to change, to adapt to the situation. And my brother was like, "Yeah, he's a one-dimensional fighter, and we've seen that happening in a few of his fights actually." So Anthony Joshua unfortunately lost, but for me, my biggest concern was his actions after the fight, and he took the mic and then started effing and blinding, using colorful words and talking about the fact that he was on the wrong side of the law, and boxing has helped him to transform his life, and to get to this moment, needs to be commended. But some criticism have come out. He's received a backlash because many were saying that it was a poor sportsmanship. He stole the light from usage. He should have just, said his piece and given the mic over. For me, it was really, really out of character for Anthony Joshua, AJ. Really, really out of character. But the same thing with sports is full of passion and emotion, and so sometimes one cannot control the emotions. You can't control your emotions, and Anthony Joshua is just a human being, just like you and I. Not that I'm making any excuses for him, but that is what happened. Unfortunately, he lost to usage again. This is the second time that he has lost. But I'm sure we see him back in the ring again. I would like to see him back in the ring again. He doesn't have to because he not that he needs the money, but I don't think that would be the end of Anthony Joshua. Okay, a few text messages are coming in. Alice is saying, "Good morning, Jones. I don't think Asamoah Gyan is respected by Ghanaians, as he's saying. Have you seen what's been happening since he made the announcement that he wants to come back and play for the Black Stars? There are pictures of him looking out of shape, trending, and people are just laughing at him." There was another gentleman who also said that if Asamoah Gyan wants to come back and play for the Black Stars, then he is also going to come back and play for the Black Stars. Asamoah Gyan should know that his time in 2014, Asamoah Gyan should know that 2014 was the end of his time. Okay. These are all negative things that Asamoah Gyan is talking about. I mean, before I move on, I think, especially, and last week, I made mention of this, right? And the fact that, to me, even 2010, when Asamoah Gyan missed the penalty against Uruguay, right? The fact that he stepped up again to take a penalty showed the resilience in Asamoah Gyan. And let's not forget all the insults, all the attacks, the personal attacks, personal insults, everything that his name has been attached to. Literally, a lot of the things have received negative press. He was blamed for the passing of Castro. All sorts of stories were made against Asamoah Gyan, and in the 21st century, that we're trying to raise, a lot of raise awareness around mental health. One can only imagine how he deals with it. I think when it comes to mental health and things being written about you, yes, as a sports personality, you're supposed to have a tough skin and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, you're just a human being, and you can tell that Asamoah Gyan still is affected by how he's been treated by Ghanaians. Some Ghanaians, I should say. Rarely would you find anything positive, especially from the Ghanaian media. To the outside world, they absolutely love and respect Asamoah Gyan for his achievements. It's not easy, and for him to be able to do that, I think Ghanaians need to respect Asamoah Gyan. Well, let's put some respect on his name. In the interview, he did make mention of the fact that if you go to Highbury, not Highbury now, the Emirates, sorry, on the Arsenal's ground, where there are statues of they're superheroes, the likes of Thierry Henry. I mean, why give people the flowers whilst they're still alive? Someone like Asamoah Gyan deserves everything. Deserves everything. Like I said last week, penalties are there to be scored, and they're also there to be missed. So that is from Asamoah Gyan. Keep your thoughts and comments coming in. All right, then let's look at today's newspaper headlines here in England. And then when we come back from the break, we will cross over and look at stories trending across the continent of Africa. And we'll begin with the Eye. According to a poll from the Eye, more than 1.7 million households are thinking about or have already cancelled direct debits to energy suppliers this autumn. It has been reported that come Friday, right, we're going to find out how much increment will be added to our energy bill. So we're all just sitting tight, waiting to see what happens. It comes as bills are expected to rise to 3,500. The paper adds, with energy firms urged not to chase those who cannot pay. Charity Age UK has warned that there could be a record number of pensioner deaths this winter due to rising heating costs and NHS pressure, and has urged the government to offer significant help. The Daily Express reports that National Grid bosses want to write the things properly, okay? Anyway, but I'm more concerned about a picture of Boris Johnson. There's a picture of Boris Johnson and his wife on holidays, and crikey, Boris Johnson, he looks, a totally different man. He just looks, stress-free, enjoying his life. The leading story is get paid to turn off your washing machine. Let's look at The Guardian. Care home residents are being put at risk due to a severe lack of staff, The Guardian says. In some cases, people have been left in their rooms for 24 hours a day. Okay. On the Daily Telegraph, turning to emergency care, the Daily Telegraph reports that people calling NHS 111 are being left on hold 20 times longer than the expected times of 20 seconds. The average time to call answer was 6.5 minutes, the paper adds, citing the latest official figures. However, some patients have reported being left on hold even longer, up to an hour, and others have waited overnight for a doctor to call back. I've also experienced that. The Daily Mail. Getting married was so much fun. J-Lo and Ben did it all over again. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. Let's look at the Times. Meanwhile, conservative voters have expressed zealous remorse over the ousting of Boris Johnson, according to polling and focus group for the Times. The paper says voters would prefer Mr. Johnson over Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss, with little enthusiasm in marginal constituencies for the Tory leadership hopefuls. Crikey. Tyson's fury at cousin's killing. This is the Metro. After Tyson Fury's cousin was stabbed. Metro joins several other papers to lead with boxer Tyson Fury's call for a crackdown on knife crime after his cousin was stabbed to death at the weekend. The world heavyweight champion said in a post on Twitter on Sunday that his relative Rico Burton was stabbed in the neck overnight. Mr. Burton, 31, was attacked in Goose Green, Greater Manchester. The Sun also leads with the same story of Tyson Fury's cousin. The same thing with the Daily Mirror and this knife horror. On the Financial Times, also the Financial Times reports that senior Russian diplomats has warned that Moscow does not see a possibility of a diplomatic resolution to end the war in Ukraine. The Daily Star, drunk German wasp kicks off. And the lead story of the front page of the Daily Star is about German wasp being drunk on fermented fruits. Okay, so that's the newspaper headlines here in England. We're going to take a quick break. We will come back. We'll turn our attentions to stories trending across the continent of Africa. And my goodness, you don't want to go anywhere. There's a lot to cover. This is the N Radio Morning Breakfast Show with myself, Jones Ewa. The time now is coming up to 9 o'clock. We'll be back right after these short commercials.
Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Wami a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing. Ninga omoyebi. So wo pesa wo transform wo life from a youth graduate and a school leaver. Na so wo pesa wo ye entrepreneur. Mon contact Base. Entrepreneur no chere say obi a ebia wa wo business. Ebia wo ye che. But wo pesa wo ye no in a professional way. To say Oprah Winfrey. Anaya papa Kwame Despite. Base bit me ama sa Diano Abim. One your experts coaching and a mentoring. And as a person will start to wow business base for bet show how I expand your business and as existing customer base. Base provides support in business plans, step-by-step finance applications, and marketing strategies. Base or become a successful entrepreneur also provide entrepreneurship skills through vision and determination. Some more per free consultation for a base
073 99 867 417. I repeat 073 99 867 417.
And also one more email address info@becomeasuccess.co.uk. Website www.becomeasuccess.co.uk. Mokohwa mobetimi make bookings for an appointment. Base and I said become a successful entrepreneur. Let's turn your vision into a reality.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, John Sewa, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadiya Basa is not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with John Sewa.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio.
Welcome back to the show. To our listeners on radio, people listening on TuneIn, just a few seconds for them to join us. So whilst we're waiting for them to join us, I know that people listening on Facebook are already locked in and they can hear us. We're live. So just give our brothers and sisters listening on online, okay, also on TuneIn, just give them a few seconds for them to also join us here. As I did mention, there's a lot to talk about, okay, on today's show. And you don't want to miss it. If you just tune in, before we went on the break, we were talking about Asamoah Gyan, the former captain of the Black Stars, did an interview with Denta. You can watch the interview online, okay? You go on YouTube, you can watch it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me just get this right. So if you do decide to go and watch it, you can know exactly where to go. So Odana Network. So Odana is spelled Odana. Odana Network. You'll be able to watch the interview Denta conducted with Asamoah Gyan. And according to Asamoah Gyan, he feels as though he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves from Ghana. He's achieved so much here in the West. He's loved, he's respected, he's appreciated, but Ghana doesn't seem to follow the same trajectory. And it's for me, this is one of the best interviews because, as I keep saying, an interview that you're able to get emotion out of your subject, just adds that extra special feel to the interview. All right, now let's continue with our discussion. Continue to send your text messages in on that. I've seen a few popping up again, and I will read them out. Believe me, I will read them out. Now let's continue with the show. The 9th of August, Kenyans went to the polls to vote to elect a new president. Last week, the results were announced where Mr. William Ruto was elected as the president of Kenya. But in the midst of that, just before the declaration of the results, the electoral body, the Kenyan electoral body, and I think it was a deputy chairwoman that came out and said that the way in which the process were conducted was, in her words, opaque. And as such, they have nothing to do with the declaration of the numbers of the election results. And off the back of that, the opposition leader, Raila Odinga's people came out and said that, this results is they will not accept this results. Raila Odinga also came out and said that the election was a parody. Today we're hearing that he's most likely to go to court to contest the election results. Of course, this is not the first time he would embark on such decision. And this is actually his fifth time of contesting to become the president of Kenya. And joining us to discuss this is Julius Beluto, journalist and broadcaster. He's got his own show on Colorful Radio, Global Issues. So it comes on every Saturday at 8 a.m. And also he's the publisher of Informer East Africa, if I got that right, Julius. Julius, thank you very much for joining us this morning. So Raila Odinga, it looks as if he'll be taking the case to the Supreme Court, Julius.
Jonas, the deed is done. The online version of the petition has already been filed. Mm-hmm. And this morning, 10 a.m. Kenya time, which is 8 a.m. our time here, they were to file the physical petition. So, and also today was the very last time, the very last day that they could file. If they were to exceed today, like tomorrow would have been a totally different conversation, because the constitution gives them 7 days to file the petition just after the announcement of the presidential results. The constitution gives them 7 days to file a petition, failure to which the results stay as they have been announced. So today, very early, I think, they already filed their online petition. So that's number one. Having filed the online petition, even if they were to delay a little bit with the second one, of course, but not later than today in terms of hours, that's still okay. So today, 10 a.m. Kenya time, 8 a.m. UK time, they went ahead to file the physical petition. So the battle begins. According to the preparations, lawyers to defend the IEBC, which is the electoral body, plus defend also the Ruto camp, the president-elect camp, they are all being represented by one group of lawyers. By the way, there are so many lawyers. On the side of the those who lost Asamoah coalition, they've also prepared a group of lawyers to defend their case. So that's where we are right now, Jonas, and things are moved on. But in other words, it's a battle for the courts, not battle on the street.
Absolutely, Julius. But what does this, because it puts the electoral body in a very precarious position, not to be in sync when it comes to elections, because rarely do you see this. And, you know, at the end of this, I wonder what would happen, because if you're the referee and the referee, let's say referee and linesman and the fourth official are, you know, are not in sync, then, you know, where do you go from here?
Jonas, Kenyans face, let's say Kenya as a country is on the horns of a dilemma. Why are they on the horns of a dilemma? Because number one, there are two scenarios. Scenario number one, if the court nullifies the election and calls for a rerun, I see the coalition of those who lost the Raila Odinga camp not actually going ahead with the rerun. Because why? The same body that has been bunkering election is still the one in power. And this body, IBC, is divided down the middle. The electoral chairman is going the other side. The deputy is going the other side.
Yeah.
And each of them are carrying junior commissioners with them. So you see, they are not properly constituted, because an institution has to be properly constituted to a full mandate to run an election. So that's one scenario number one. So I foresee a situation whereby if the Supreme Court comes, says, fine, we agree with you. This election was full of illegalities and irregularities. We are going to nullify the election. Then there you go, bang. Okay, fine. Who is going to conduct the rerun?
Yeah.
Because IEBC right now, no. Kenyans, Jonas, thousands of Kenyans have already signed a petition to get the electoral chairman arrested and prosecuted for bunkering their election. This is where we are. So no one can trust him to run any other election again. You understand? That's where we are. So scenario number two, which may work better. I don't know how practical it can be. Raila Odinga is proposing. Supreme Court, you have the power to make any decision. Why don't you yourself tally the votes and announce the winner?
The Supreme Court are not there to announce election results.
Exactly. Yeah, do the tally and announce the winner. It's never been done before. I don't know how it will look like.
No way.
But Kenyans are ambitious. And they extend boundaries when it comes to the rule of law, which is a good thing, because I don't mind battles going through the rule of law, through the courts and everything. That's fantastic. We don't want to see some irresponsible politician calling people to riot, protest. For what?
Yeah.
Jonas, you see, Kenyans have been clever than they were, because if you flash back, Jonas, some years back, 2007, just before the announcement of presidential winner, Ruto was on the same side with Raila Odinga.
Yes,
They belonged to the same party, ODM, Orange Democratic Party. And the words that those who lost are calling, they were like at the Bomas of Kenya, where it was the tallying of presidential votes was happening. The guys who were calling to for resort to verify the results were in the opposition, the ones who lost. They were like, do not announce the winner before we verify the results. And they were not given the chance. Those are the same ones. 2007, Ruto was saying, is in actual what? It was him saying that. He was saying, do not announce the presidential winner before you give us the chance to verify the results. 2007 was saying that, standing on the same camp with Raila Odinga, who is now his key opponent. So we have known and we have seen from time to time a politician with a strong stance, in a minute he goes on the other side. If emotionally we are attached to them, you are left empty and confused emotionally because they jumped the ship while it was in motion.
Yeah. So in terms of the electoral body, who has the authority then to dissolve the electoral body or to appoint or to elect new members?
Sorry, Jonas, can you repeat the question a bit?
No, I was asking in terms of the electoral body. I mean, if the electoral body is split, as we've seen, then people are calling for the electoral body, the same guy as you're saying, to be arrested. So who has the power then to dissolve this institution and to maybe appoint some new members?
If we were to go down that road, and of course opposition refuses, I shouldn't call them the opposition yet. Those who lost refuses to acknowledge the electoral body, then we as a country we will have no chance but to go for to wait until there is a different IEBC with new staff, new chairman constituted. That takes time, because although people seem in a very simplistic way think the current commissioners who rebelled from their chairman were appointees of the state. You see, it's a process, Jonas, because of abuse of power. Those powers from the president were trimmed. So these people's names, before they are appointed to be commissioners, their names have to be given, they have to be interviewed on public TV. And for just in case someone knows something across the country about these guys, they can come across and tell these people, no, he has an issue with him, or I have an issue with him. So he will not be appointed. Away from that, after that, they are vetted by parliament. So it's not just a small thing like picking up and commissioners and say, let it be. No, it's a process. So the question is, if the Supreme Court announces a rerun, then those who lost will be like, we are not going to go do a rerun with these guys.
They don't have no confidence
the
in
commission. It will take time to appoint a new commission. That's how it may pan out, because I don't see any way that those who lost will accept to be supervised by these guys who are already divided. It's not possible.
All right, we'll keep a close eye on that, Julius. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Always a pleasure speaking to you. So that was Julius Beluto, a very good friend of mine, and also a broadcaster and a journalist. He has his show on Colorful Radio. Colorful Radio, Global Politics, every Saturday at 8 a.m. So do make sure to check it out. On the subject of Asamoah Gyan, this is Junior. Junior is saying, Jones, I feel Asamoah Gyan's pain. I had the opportunity to watch the interview, and you can tell that Asamoah Gyan is still really, really hurt about things that has been done to him. I think it's about time we speak of the positive and leave the negative in the past. Okay. All right. Elsewhere, the International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, has arrived in Sudan. A year ago, he visited the country for talks on outstanding arrest warrants over crimes committed during the 2003 Darfur War under ousted President Omar al-Bashir. Let's take a quick listen to this report.
The International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, has arrived in Sudan. A year ago, he visited the country for talks on outstanding arrest warrants over crimes committed during the 2003 Darfur War under ousted President Omar al-Bashir. The ICC prosecutor and the court delegation will hold a number of meetings with senior officials, and he will be visiting Darfur's region, according to the local media. Khan's visit will continue until August 25. His visit this year is the third by an ICC prosecutor to Sudan since Bashir's ouster in April 2019. Khan's predecessor, Fatou Bensouda, held talks in Sudan in May 2021, bringing the strife-hit country's former leaders on one step closer to being tried at the Hague for war crimes. The United Nations says 300,000 people were killed and 2.5 million displaced during the conflict. Bashir's government asserts no more than 10,000 died.
Okay, I'm sure you know where my position is on these type of stories. I mean, South Sudan is a rather unfortunate situation for the amount of people that died. I think it was 2011 that the country separated, isn't it? South Sudan, and this war, the civil war, is down to ethnicity, tribal wars, where two ethnic groups that have had their differences all the time started the issue again. But not even looking at that, I'm more concerned about the ICC's position. I mean, look, you cannot, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but ICC, International Criminal Court, looks like more of ACC, African Criminal Courts, or non-Western criminal courts. It's just ridiculous, to be honest with you. In as much as, yes, people who commit war crimes need to be held accountable and they need to face the criminal justice system, I don't think it's down to the ICC to extradite these people to try them elsewhere. I simply don't buy it one little bit. If that's the case, then it needs to be across board. If that's the case, the likes of George Bush needs to be sent there. Tony Blair needs to be there as well, because all these people have committed war crimes. They lied to us about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. They lied to us. They lied because the information they received was actually not factual, but based on hearsay and fabricated. And as such, they need to face war crimes. They need to be charged with war crimes. They need to face war charges. They need to face the International Criminal Courts. But we don't see them. We don't see them. And, anything happens anywhere else, then there you go. They're quick to go, especially in Africa. They're quick to go there to bring them to book, to bring them to justice. This is the hypocrisy of these institutions. And I say it, with no qualms. It's the hypocrisy of these institutions. Yes, anyone involved with any war crimes needs to be trialed, needs to face the consequences of their actions. Whether it's 300,000 people that died, or as al-Bashir is saying and his government are saying 10,000 people that died, it doesn't matter. Every single death needs to be accounted for. And if it's under anyone's leadership that, innocent people are murdered, then they need to be held accountable. I don't think it's the ICC, it's up to them for anybody to be held accountable. If that's the case, they need to start with the likes of Bush and Tony Blair. Even Margaret Thatcher's son. But it's just, oh dear. Right. So that is what the ICC are intending on doing, to bring to justice people who have been accused of committing war crimes. I think they should just Bush is just around the corner, former president of the US. He's just around the corner. Tony Blair is still walking around, even though I was a big supporter, a big fan of Tony Blair at that time. I'm sure we'll all lie to you. It's not a hidden secret that we all know we're all misled to believe something that did not actually existed. And need I add, this whole thing that was cooked up essentially about after 9/11. It's just the US to continue with its dominance in the world. Off the back of the Cold War, when the Soviet Union just were essentially non-existent anymore. Now you had Russia. The US needed an enemy to focus on, to be able to have the freedom to create some ambiguous policies to hold back on, as a single power to control. And they focused on war on terror with ridiculous ambiguity of creating a policy, preemption policies, meaning that we can, if we suspect that there's an imminent threat, that we can act, and then escalated that to preventative, meaning that even if we suspect you, if nothing has happened, we can come there and do whatever we need to do. So, hence Guantanamo Bay and suspects being arrested. It's just all foolishness. It's all foolishness. But we don't see the likes of Tony Blair. We don't see the likes of George Bush being held accountable. But they're quick to go to, Africa and say, hey, come here. We need to punish you. We need to teach you what you need to do. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right. Let's look at other stories as well. Mali's transitional government reacted on Friday to the withdrawal of France's last soldiers in the country on August 15. The Barkhane force had been operating in the country for the last 9 years in order to help local army counter terrorist groups. But relations between Bamako and Paris have constantly deteriorated since the two military coups in August 2020 and 2021. Let's listen to this report. Okay. We're ready? All right. Okay, let's go.
Mali's transitional government reacted on Friday to the withdrawal of France's last soldiers in the country at the beginning of this week. The Barkhane force had been operating in the country for the last 9 years in order to help the local army counter terrorist groups. But relations between Bamako and Paris have constantly deteriorated since the two military coups in August 20 and May 2021. The transitional government has noted the effective departure of the French Barkhane force from Malian territory since August 15. As a reminder, France decided unilaterally on June 10, 2021 to withdraw the Barkhane force from Mali by adopting a timetable without consulting the Malian authorities, to whom it was bound by defence agreements. The military government assured the population their security would not be altered by this departure, and on the contrary, their security would considerably improve. The transitional government takes note of this final withdrawal of the Barkhane force and reassures the Malian population that thanks to the rise in power of the brave Malian forces, more successes will be recorded against the terrorist groups. Ties with France have also been going downhill because of the growing presence of Russian soldiers, instructors and weapons in the country. On Monday, Mali's foreign minister accused France of arming jihadist groups.
Okay, and also again, that's always been the debate, isn't it? They come there as the saviors. We're helping you to fight terrorist groups, and then before you know it, there are accusations of them actually perpetrating the issue. Elsewhere, Ethiopia unveils plans to end war, calls for ceasefire with Tigray rebels. The spokesman for the Ethiopian Prime Minister's office announced that the 7-member peace committee had drawn up a proposal to start a ceasefire talks with the rebels and end the war in the northern region. Let's take a quick listen to this report.
Will a ceasefire agreement and a national dialogue end the 20-month-long war in northern Ethiopia? On Wednesday, the spokesperson for the Ethiopian Prime Minister's office insisted the government wanted talks with rebel leaders in the Tigray region to start. For this purpose, a plan was drawn up by a 7-member peace committee established in June.
The peace proposal has got a three-pronged proposal. Firstly, it proposes for peace talks to happen within the coming weeks towards an agreed ceasefire. Secondly, it proposes to undertake an in-depth political dialogue between the parties leading towards a settlement. And thirdly, it proposes for any other pending issues to be addressed through a national dialogue.
The TPLF rebels dismissed the committee's call as an obfuscation. If both sides have named negotiators, the parties differ on several issues and prerequisites to the talks. The rebels, for example, want a return of basic services in the war-stricken northern region.
For the basic services to happen, we are saying that a conducive operable environment needs to happen, which guarantees the safety of federal service providers to operate freely and with guarantees that their safety is facilitated within the region. And at the moment, with a very vocally belligerent and illegally armed group operating at its own whim, and refusing to accept peace talks, the required enabling and secure environment is lacking for the restoration of services.
Fighting has eased since a humanitarian truce was declared at the end of March, but a political solution has yet to be found. The rebels and the government haven't agreed on a mediator. The African Union leads efforts to end the conflict that has killed thousands and left millions displaced.
Now, elsewhere in Sierra Leone, opposition probe into Hassan Doumbouya's death. Sierra Leone's main opposition party called for an independent investigation into the death of one of its members in connection with deadly riots last week. According to the statement signed by the leader of the former ruling APC, Cheno Majuba, the violence on 10th of August in Freetown and several localities shows an erosion of the gains made in reconciliation, social cohesion, and post-conflict peace building in Sierra Leone. Majuba called for an independent committee to quickly and definitively investigate the protests and their consequences. He also called for account of all those imprisoned and killing during the event and urged authorities to hand over the bodies to the families. An anti-cost of living demonstration on 10th of August degenerated into violent clashes between security forces and young protesters demanding the departure of President Julius Maada Bio, who was elected in 2018, prompting the authorities to suspend the internet and introduce a curfew, which has since been lifted. So that is just an update on what's happening in Sierra Leone. Now then, another story. Somalia hotel siege. More than 20 die in al-Shabab attack. Somali's security forces have said they rescued 106 people who were trapped inside a hotel that had been stormed by militants on Friday night. 21 people are confirmed to have died in the 30-hour ordeal, the health ministry said. The fight to retake the hotel ended overnight, officials have said. The assailants used explosives to gain entry to Mogadishu's Hyatt Hotel before violently taking control. Islamist militant group al-Shabab has taken responsibility for the attack. And I quote, this is a quote saying that, "I would like to inform all Somalis that the operations at the hotel was concluded midnight." Police Commander Abdi Hassan Mohammed Hajra told journalists in a briefing that took place close to the site of the attack. And I quote the police commander. He says, "It is shocking that innocent people lost their lives. The security forces were engaged in rescuing the people one by one in groups. The death toll could rise as there is the possibility that family members collected the bodies of relatives before an official count was made," Health Minister Ali Haji Adan said. He added that 117 people were injured, with 51 15 of them being in critical condition. The hotel has been largely destroyed following intense fighting between the militants and security forces throughout Friday night and Saturday, with videos showing explosions and smoke billowing from the building's rooftop. Okay, other stories. In South Africa, cannabis growers left behind by legislation plans. The drive from Umtata to Dikidini village in South Africa's East Cape province is a picturesque journey filled with endless vistas, scattered homestead, and winding roads which scythe through undulating green hills that could easily be mistaken for cornfields. Yet they are anything but. That's cannabis, my local guide and cannabis activist Greek Zuenti tells me. Everyone here grows it. That's how they make a living. So this is a journalist's experience in that part of South Africa as they're looking to legalize cannabis in their country. And I want to touch on this because we actually spoke about this. This is the story of the young man that died in Italy. So they've titled this a letter from Africa: How Racism Haunts Black People in Italy. For Italian Eritrean filmmaker and podcaster Irene Tekli, there is no doubt that there is the recent killing of a disabled Nigerian street vendor, Aliko Ogochukwu, in Italy was a racist murder. This is despite the fact that local police have ruled out racism as a motive for the 39-year-old's killing in the seaside town of Sivatona Marshi. He was reportedly selling handkerchiefs when he was chased and beaten to death. None of those who witnessed the broad daylight attack appeared to intervene. The suspect, a white man named Filippo Claudio Giuseppe Filazzo, has been ordered to remain in jail as investigation continues. A police investigator said Mr. Ojukwu was attacked after traders insistent request to the suspect and his partner for spare change. Nevertheless, his horrific murder caught on video has firmly, I should say, put the spotlight on racism in Italy. In 2016, another Nigerian man, Emmanuel Chidi Namdi, was killed after defending his wife from racist abuse in the town of Fermo in central Italy. I mean, look, this comes as no surprise because the far right movements in Italy, we all know, are really anti-immigrants. And so, when you live in a country like this is what is going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Unfortunately, you get to see stories like this all the time. Okay, now I just want to play a clip. Okay, I made mention of this. By the way, keep your comments coming in, all right? They're popping up here. Messages are coming up here, and I will read them. Okay, so just bear with me. I'll read them. Let's just get through this. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I will continue to read your messages. All right, but I just want us to listen to this. I did make mention of this story earlier on, but if you just tune in, so he's a journalist, also a broadcaster, KKD, Kwesi Chedakwa. I remember the name very, very well, and I think I've met him probably twice. Yes, I've met him twice. Now, last week, right, he went on the show, and this is as a result of the economic hardship in Ghana, and where he made this assertion that the finance minister's bank, there's a bank that he owns now, according to reports, he no longer has any dealings with the bank. He has resigned as a board member and so on and so forth, right? But his bank, Data Bank, is actually acts as the consultant, body, entity for any transaction between the state and lenders. So if Ghana is going for a loan, the Data Bank are the ones that, consulting groups that make sure everything is done accordingly. And he's criticizing that and criticizing the finance minister, saying that this is a conflict of interest because here we are, you are affiliated to this bank and you're the finance minister. It's your bank that is being used to secure loans And at the end of the day, your services will be paid, not you personally, by the bank. And if the bank is getting paid, then you are getting paid because you are affiliated to the banks. But obviously, there's been backlash on his assertion. Let's listen to this quickly.
In the headlines, Presbyterian Church of Ghana urged...
Okay, so we're going to try and get this bit soundbite in because that's more important to our discussion as opposed to other stories. So once we get that up and running, I will let you know. And of course, there's also been talks still with Ghana, the free SHS, to allow people who can afford to pay as opposed to it being free for them. But I think we have the soundbite now, so let's take a listen.
The interview has gained social media traction and is being shared on many platforms. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance in a statement said the claim that the said firm had been appointed as advisor to the Ministry of Finance was incorrect.
I read a report yesterday that broke my heart. I saw how much Ghana owes, but I also found that apparently the Minister of Finance's company or former company is a transaction advisor to the monies we borrow. So as Ghana gets poorer, the Minister of Finance's company or former company gets richer. Is this what we want to continue in this country? Do we want to re-elect people into office, give them their pay and their perks, and then allow them and their friends and their companies or their former companies to be the very beneficiaries of the woes of our country? This is not only about the Minister of Finance. This is about Parliament. Parliament, you must be ashamed of yourself. You have failed the people of Ghana. Because I don't think from the time of Nkrumah to date, whoever is the Minister of Finance should be benefiting every time our country goes to borrow money.
Okay, so that was KKD's assertion. Of course, the ministry have denied it as well. I mean, he received a massive backlash on social media, and it's still ongoing. It's turned into personal attacks and all sorts being said about KKD, which I wouldn't even dare repeat on here. But remember, also last week, right, we spoke about this, and it looks as if this story is not going anywhere anytime soon. This is to do with Ghana. It's been labeled the Labianca saga. So the Office of the Special Prosecutor, okay, in their investigation, found that a member of the Council of State who has a business, she's into the frozen food business, okay, gets preferential treatment when her goods are coming in at the harbor. And as such, she's been able to avoid paying taxes. Now, the special prosecutor did his due diligence, and in his investigations, his findings found the woman culpable, found that she was evading taxes, right? To the point where I think the chairman of the Ghana Revenue Authority also came out. I played the video last week. Also came out saying that his name has been added to this to this saga. Tried to cast aspersions on his name to to assassinate his character. Right, but as of yet, I'm yet to read anything that indicates the woman's resignation. She's still at post. I just want us to take a quick listen to Professor Jim Abuedi as he raises questions about the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Labianca saga.
The ongoing dispute between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Labianca Company raises a number of deeply troubling questions about the state of governance in Ghana today. Firstly, it raises the question as to whether the president should be appointing an individual to serve on the board of a public agency with whom that individual has private business dealings? And if so, doesn't that set this individual up for conflict of interest? Question number 2, is it appropriate for the president to appoint a Council of State member to a state agency board? And was there an objectively compelling public interest related reason for the president to make such an appointment? And thirdly, was the appointment run by the Council of State? And if the answer is yes, doesn't the Council of State's approval of the appointment of one of its members to a state agency board position smack of institutional self-dealing? I don't really know what answers will be given to these questions by the authorities that enabled this horrible state of affairs to take place in the first place. But it leads me to 2 very basic conclusions. It speaks specifically to the entrenchment of incumbent leaders and political elite capture of the Ghanaian state. And it also speaks generally to the alarming decline in governance standards in our fourth republic. There are a whole lot of things we can say about trying to correct this development and to avert reoccurrence. But this is not a time and place for it, other than to say that all of this calls attention to the need for an ethics czar at the presidency, within the executive branch, at the Council of State, and other very important decision-making and public resource allocation agencies and institutions in the country. I hope we can begin to do something to arrest the horrible decline into which our governance and our democratic politics has landed.
That was Professor Zimbabwe as he raises questions about the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the LaBianca saga. Where do you stand on this? I mean, I think I've made my position clear. I still don't understand why the woman is still up post. And if, I don't know, the Special Prosecutor is just there to look into things, investigate it, and then what? And then what? If money have not been paid or averted, and then what? Bring back the money? Is that the policy now? Is that what the big hoo-ha about the Special Prosecutor was about? If they don't have the means actually to prosecute anybody, Special Prosecutor, who is he prosecuting? No, did I miss something? Or is he just a tax collector? Clearly, I don't get it. If he doesn't have the remit, okay, to prosecute anyone, then why call them a special prosecutor? If they have the necessary documents, substantive evidence that shows that this person in question here is found guilty, then take the case to court. So I don't get it. I'm serious. I'm baffled. I don't get it. The time now is 9:48. Gosh, a lot of text messages to go through. Nevertheless, keep them coming. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will continue with our discussion. This is the Morning Breakfast Show with myself, John Sewa, on GN Radio. We'll be back after these short commercials.
Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Wami a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing. Ninga omoyebi. So pesa will transform your life from a youth graduate and a school leaver. Nasa pesa wo ye entrepreneur. Mon contact base. Entrepreneur no chere say obia ebia wa wo business. Ebia wo ye che. but upesa wo ye no in a professional way. To say Oprah Winfrey, Anaya Papa, Kwame Despite. Base, Bitmama, Sa Diano, Abim, one your experts, coaching, and a mentoring. And as upesa will start our business. Base for bet show how our ubesia expanding business and as existing customer base. Base provides support in business plans, step-by-step finance applications, and marketing strategies. Base or become a successful entrepreneur also provide entrepreneurship skills through vision and determination. Some more free consultation for Base
073 99 867 417. I repeat, 073 99 867 417.
And also one more email address info@becomeasuccess.co.uk. Website www.becomeasuccess.co.uk. Mokohwa mubetimi make bookings for an appointment. Base and I said become a successful entrepreneur. Let's turn your vision into a reality.
Akosia na mutini seni akoda ya de sese de sa di nsemu ebusua ese de me pe no yonku na si wono usani mame hwe ya sorry prekupe na fa akora no kona kwagina yaresa adan wo wura fise ebisa wo yi efritwa kunkun ana Samuel ngo me di kan etredu no nwotwe di chemu nwotwe no eho na bra na so wo ne Philippines fo ekokon okọ oba bia no abe ewo humu emode to nanim se wokokon na obewu asante kotokose se wote wotwo so a ehimu enu nti sorry prekupe na tutumirika na fa akora no kwagina yarehwe esanse anoma wo ho ye monopo maame kosohwe abo ni papi wonyo ma ti se yimu opeme okọ nachi na wasan ababiem sese de onnam posene kane no wonim se oba bia cha adwaye a na osiesie no honhum yade te se obaidi honhum attack adaye so basabasa kodanna abrabo na sinitrase ayemhihye wo hihye na adwiregu abrabo mu adeso biada wo ba abrochire hayi ya santo apenso nanso wo nko a wosia na ebu wo hihye na adwire wo bopa na esane sikato wo nsam a na ahye kai na hunu se obiara nu a watimi atumirika esan otwe ho da ma wo ho enye hare na wo de na ankoye se abrojuma a woforobo wieye na afi obeka se wonu no ho wonu yade adokotafo entimi ansa no enumpo eno ye ho adwuma frema me kosohwe wo ahoma yi so 0790846914 ana 0740580734 0740580734 mame kosohwe ana yetwe no a yetwe botentim
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, John Sewa, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadiba side. It's not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with John Sewa.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio.
That's right. The Morning Breakfast Show with me, John Sewa, Monday to Wednesdays from 8 a.m. So make sure you stay tuned, okay? Now, over the weekend, I'll come to your messages in a minute. Let me just put this out there. Over the weekend, I attended actually the book launch of Ajua Ajman. I had Ajua on the show last week, Wednesday. We spoke about her book, about Move to Ghana, 10 practical ways to relocate back to Ghana. And, I don't think it's only conducive to Ghana. I think anyone that wants to travel or should I say relocate back to motherland, I think it is applicable because we more or less face the same challenges. But I went to the book launch on Saturday, and well done to Ajay and the team. It was really good, and to be able to network and hear people's experiences. People doing big things, big things. In many sectors. Real estate, fashion. We had one guy that was doing podcasts. Different. A lot of people that were just sharing their experiences. And funny enough, I spoke to one guy. He's Nigerian. He's looking to go into I think the rice and maize industry, or should I say sector, and he's Nigerian, and he's looking to start in Ghana. He's never traveled to Ghana. It's his first time, but he's looking to make that move, and he didn't want to go to Nigeria straight away. So he had been advised to begin his business in Ghana to get a feel of what to expect when he goes to Nigeria, because Ghana is much, slower and much more quieter as opposed to Nigeria. So he wanted to test Ghana first, which I thought was amazing. It was remarkable to see that, somebody who's never been to the country, but due to the way that Ghana has been projected and what people say about Ghana and his friends and family's experiences in Ghana has led him to make such a decision to embark on a journey to start up business in Ghana. So I just wanted to put that out there, that the event was successful, and congratulations to Ajwa and the whole team. All right, now back to your text messages on the issue of Asamoah Gyan. This is from Mary. Mary saying, Jones, I agree with you. In days that we now talk about mental health issues, Asamoah Gyan has suffered a lot at the hands of Ghanaians, and as such, we need to be mindful of how we talk about sportsmen and women. Okay. John is saying, good morning, Jones. Always great to listen to you in the morning. Thank you, John. John is saying, Jones, on the issue of the LaBianca story, I think what the professor was saying was spot on. What does this say about our politicians? How come the perpetrator has not been brought to book? Why is she still at her post? She should have resigned ages ago. Our president said that he will come and deal with people who are found to be corrupt. We're just watching. Nothing is happening. Echo is saying that, Jones, I must admit, myself, I have been very, very critical of Asamoah Gyan. But listening to the interview and watching the interview, I've realized that maybe my thoughts and my views have been unwarranted. I think Asamoah Gyan has achieved a lot, and we should celebrate him. Abigail is saying, Asamoah Gyan, we want him in the Black Stars. Jones, you said it last week, and I was listening to you. Who do we have that is able to score goals for Ghana at this year's World Cup? How many goals did the Black Stars score before qualifying for the World Cup? And you've got a point, actually. You have. But again, my take or my position was not as a result of, I don't think that Asamoah Gyan is still, he can still play for the Black Stars. That's not my position. My position is, I don't think he is fit enough. I don't think he has enough time to be able to get in shape and then be able to be at, a level where we will say that this is the Asamoah Gyan that we'll know. Okay, so that is my position on there. That's why I was saying that I'd rather remember Asamoah Gyan of what he's achieved now, as opposed to remembering Asamoah Gyan of, the latter Asamoah Gyan, where things might not be as smooth as they used to be. Like boxers, right? So even the likes of Muhammad Ali, towards the latter stages, he was just getting beaten up the likes of Mike Tyson at the latter stage. So when you keep talking, people always refer to, Mike Tyson in his prime, or who's the best singer? Michael Jackson in his prime, or, Jordan and Kobe Bryant, Jordan in his prime. I rather have that of Asamoah Gyan now than to see him playing, and things are not the same, and people comparing him or rating him as somebody of his old self, and I don't want to hear that. Okay, thank you for your messages. The conversation still continues on our social media platforms, so do go and then carry on the conversation. I'm done for the day. The time now is nearly 10 o'clock. Whatever it is that you're doing, make sure you look after yourself and stay safe. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Thank you to our guests, Papa and also Julius, and to you for sending in your text messages. As always, we'll continue to do our best to bring you breaking news, breaking stories, trending stories across the world, but most importantly, with a focal point on stories trending across the continent of Africa. We're done for another day. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.